if a primordial black hole shot past the Earth, its gravity draining the entire ocean underneath your boat to the other side of the world overnight, what would you do? In this How to Beat video, I'm gonna break down the mistakes the boaters made, what you should do, and how to beat the flesh-eating arthropods in Survive. Since its formation, the Earth has experienced 5 mass extinctions, once every 2,000 years. Well, how long's it been since the last one, Mr. Scientist? About 2,000 years? Well, how do you figure that? A slightly darker shaded layer of an Arctic core sample? Oh my god, we better get your organization funded with taxpayer money ASAP so that we can better predict this imminent threat. I'm sure all the good citizens will be more than happy to pay more for their groceries, homes, and healthcare so that we can inform them of the disaster after it's too late and after we're safely inside our bunkers and spaceships. We start out following a boat floating in the Caribbean Sea off the coast of Puerto Rico, fishing, tanning, swimming. Don't tell me that tectonic plates are gonna shift and open a breach for a super ancient species of highly intelligent amphibious piranhas. If so, this chick's toast. Looks like she's feeling a disturbance in the ocean. All of a sudden, a current starts pulling her away from the boat. It takes El Capitan a couple minutes to figure out where the screaming is coming from. Must have been a rogue wave. As we all know, those sound exactly like screaming women. First order of business: help little Jimmy stow his fishing pole while his mom is either drowning, being attacked by sharks, getting sucked into a whirlpool, or I don't know. It's the ocean. It's super scary. God knows what's currently killing her. The daughter wants to jump into the ocean to save her mom. Thankfully, Dad tells her to sit her down and keep the boat steady. I agree. You're in a boat. Why get into the water when you have a boat? And you have no idea what's killing her. All you're gonna accomplish is adding another victim. Boats usually have throwable life buoys for this exact purpose, like the one visible right here, as he jumps off the boat.
Wow. Wow!
The man rescues his wife and brings her back aboard the boat. All right, new ground rules. Water rules. No more swimming away from the boat without someone watching. That night, it's little Jimmy's birthday. He makes his wish and blows out the candles. Shortly afterwards, his sister FaceTimes her boyfriend. Unimportant, except for the freak lightning storm in the background. Weird. And freak whale migration happening just outside. According to the man, whales follow the Earth's magnetic field. Sometimes storms cause abnormalities, and so sometimes whales head into the coast convinced that they're headed along it. Their situation rapidly deteriorates. The whales bend the propeller and shaft, severely impairing the boat's ability to boat, which is a problem because the radio's not working. Might have something to do with those satellites falling out of the sky. Jesus, kid, what did you wish for? In their attempt to dodge the falling satellites, he burns up the motor and snaps a big metal spinning thing in the engine bay. That's not good. With the freak storm rolling in, the man battens down the hatches. The women secure loose objects, and the boy stubs his toe really badly. Everyone dons their life vests for if the boat capsizes. It's a total cluster. The mom's pouring blood out of her nose. The daughter's puking like she's on a landing craft on D-Day. Her husband's getting no reply on the Mayday signal. The anchor flies through the window. Must have been the Earth's core rotating its polarity rotation inversion. Magnets, man. How do they even work? After a rocky last night, they emerge from the boat the next morning. The good news is they're no longer floating adrift in the vast ocean. The bad news, there's no ocean. I'm assuming that's bad news for someone. First things first, everyone, get out your phones.
Still nothing.
I would suspect so, given all the satellites are now at the bottom of the ocean. The dad delivers his pep talk about every problem having a solution. I don't know about that one. Right where you're sitting, on this desert rock, that's where the Caribbean Ocean used to be. There may be a solution to this problem, but I can guarantee that you don't have it. Maybe we should have funded that organization. Regardless, the only real option they have is to look at the compass. Assume the Earth's poles were fully rotated and base your map route off of that.
North indicates south and south indicates north, as if the poles reversed.
I think he said yesterday that they were 5 miles off the coast. Based on the entire ocean draining to the other side of the planet, by my estimation, their approximate location should be somewhere on Earth. It's gonna be a hell of a hike, so we best get to it. The daughter inquires about said ocean's relocation.
So that would mean that Adam.
Yes, Adam, and everyone else on the planet who is not currently sitting in a boat at the time. The man has a plan. He thinks the inversion caused EMF interference with his radios when they tried to use them, but if he can boost the signal and try again, his transmission should get sent out. If there's anyone alive out nearby with a radio, they should receive it. And sure enough, a submariner responds.
Maybe the Earth has decided to eliminate the men before they destroy it.
Hello? Hello? You're breaking up. I think I'm losing the connection. Wow, what an idiot. It's a good thing that they didn't hang up though, because the next thing that he says is that according to his instruments, there's systemic movements which indicate that the poles are gonna reverse again in a week, along with that big ol' ocean tsunamiing back on top of them. The submariner gives them one piece of advice. Try to climb up somewhere high. We're sitting on the bottom of the ocean floor right now, bro. Wow, it's a good thing my boat was carrying a 4-seater Can-Am loaded with fuel. Oh wait, knowing they're out of options, they beg the submarine man to allow their 2 children to take the 2 open seats on a submarine. He gives them his coordinates, 18.30 north, 83 west. I think that's like open water in the Western Caribbean Sea near the Cayman Trough. Their last known location was 5 miles off the coast of Cuba, before the Corps pulled the drain plug on the entire ocean. So, they're lost. Super lost. Well, actually, nerd, they can use the star Polaris' degree of height above the horizon to clock their latitude. Except the sky has a haze and they can't see any stars. The horizon is not clean with the bad terrain that they're on, and even if it was, without tools, accurately calculating the latitude to within a precise minute of position is impossible. If Polaris is about a pinky width above the horizon at an arm's length, that means, depending on how fat your finger is and how long your arm is, you'll be within 2 degrees of latitude, or about 150 miles on foot. So you're telling me you possibly only have a day or 2 before the sea returns, and your plan is to pack mule all your food and water 200 miles over exposed rough terrain to where you think this tiny submarine might be located, which is west of your location, deeper into the X-Ocean no man's land territory, when you have no idea where your precise starting point is, nor can you be sure that this guy is at the coordinates that he said he is. Remember, he doesn't have GPS either. He may have given us the last number that he had. It's like the Chernobyl dosimeter. He didn't give us the true number, he gave us the number that he had. Even if his coordinates were accurate, you have no way to precisely route your way to those coordinates. Maybe you could get somewhat close using your compass, a faint star, and some fancy math, but if you're even a little off, over the distances that we're talking about, you could easily end up 20 to 30 miles off course, which is about a full day of walking, a day's time you very likely do not have. Again, the entire ocean drained in about 8 hours. This isn't even taking into account the fact that the instability of the magnetic poles could easily cause your compass to be inaccurate. If anything, if you're remotely close to your last location of 5 miles off the coast of Cuba, you should be heading east, as mainland would be significantly closer. I honestly think that they should just stay put. They have shelter, food, water, radios to transmit to rescue services, a giant SOS balloon, supplies, and most importantly, a boat. A buoyant object that they can sit on when the tide rolls back in. Here's the thing, their boat is currently sitting on the upper shelf. If the ocean returns, it's gonna crash fill the basin first, then pour over the upper shelf, potentially mitigating the more violent tidal waves, whereas the submarine is likely at the deeper part of the basin and would be subjected to the more violent tidal waves. Don't get me wrong, it's still gonna be violent as hell, but I think it could be survivable. The real benefit to this plan is that mom and dad don't die and leave their kids with some fatalistic stranger crunched inside of a floating game cube, which has no storage space for the quantities of food and water that they will most definitely need. As often is, the best strategy is to do nothing. Based on Tom's rough calculations, submarine guy is 2 to 3 days away, so go ahead and make that 4 to 5 days to give yourself buffer room for the inevitable ankle sprain, miscalculation, or hardship that you will certainly face. As if the timing wasn't already tight enough, Tom wants them to get a good night's sleep first and leave tomorrow morning. Bro, you've been up for like 2 hours and you're gonna waste the entire day so that you can get a good night's rest? You don't have that time to spare. Not long after, Tom spots a survivor walking in from the distance, looking like the man from the movie The Road, looking like Denzel in the Book of Eli. Dude, it's not even been a single day. Tom's dumb runs out there by himself to offer water to the strange, mean-mugging man holding a peasant spear. Idiot. Lone, desperate, mean-looking military-age males in the apocalypse are not to be trusted. The man finishes Tom with a jugular stab and then launches it at the mom, clipping her arm. The mom fails to pick up the weapon to defend herself with, possibly the best weapon that they have. Her plan is to shove the kids into the underseat storage compartment and hand her daughter a flare gun while she grabs a knife and hides in the downstairs bathroom. Gee, he'll never find us in here. It's not like there's a whole lot of hiding spots in a boat. It stands to reason this man was a boater himself and thus knows the likely hiding spots in a boat. I mean, great idea. Make your kids unbelievably easy to kill. Then isolate yourself in a separate location where you can't help them. I would have picked up his spear, climbed into the boat, pocketed the knife, grabbed the flare gun, and when this asshole peeked over the back of the boat, I would have shot him in the face and then hit him with that link down air. She plays Ring Around the Rosie, kills his dog, then jumps back into the boat where the man ragdolls and chokes her out for a couple minutes, right in front of her coward kids who do nothing to save their mom. Finally, Cassie works up the courage to creak the seat up and take the shot. I'm just surprised she hit him with her eyes closed. Great, now the boat's on fire. Not like we needed that. See, this is why I wanted to shoot him in the face as he was climbing up the back. Less chance of the boat burning down. Of course, nobody finishes the man off while he's down. Mom does give him a face kick, but come on. You gotta stomp him out like Driver. I do not want to have to fight this guy again. Oh look, he made it out, and now they're gonna have to fight him again. Or maybe not, I don't know. He does have a nasty limp, so they do just kind of outwalk him. They might have survived that psycho, but they're not out of the storm yet. Without directions to the submarine? Ah, hell. That plane was deaf anyways. Unless they stumble across another boat, they're pretty much When they look back, the man is still chase-walking after them. Oh, look, we can hide in the dead whale. He'll never find us in here. Further up ahead, they stop for a water break. Only there's no water because Cassie forgot to screw the cap on top of the water canteen. There's an understandable crash out that ensues.
Mais comment on va faire sans eau, putain?
Now that we have a breather from the immediate threats to our lives, this seems like a good time to talk about the broader worldwide implications of Earth's magnetic poles inverting. For starters, none of this would have happened if it was merely a magnetic pole reversal, which realistically would take thousands of years to play out. A magnetic field shift cannot cause water to move. For oceans to up and disappear overnight, you need a gravity or rotational shift. The only logical thing that could have caused oceans to drain and satellites to fall from space overnight is a super dense cosmic object passing close to Earth. An Earth-mass primordial black hole could exist, and would be undetectable at a distance by our best equipment, as it would be a black speck the size of a dime. One of these suckers traveling at hundreds of kilometers a second, passing by Earth at Earth to Moon distances for 8 to 12 hours, would certainly wreck the Moon's orbit, pull satellites out of space, massively disrupt tides, the Earth's crust, and the magnetic fields. The magnetic north wouldn't necessarily flip as much as the field would become chaotic. It could temporarily collapse, or the poles could wander, or multiple temporary poles could appear. This theory kinda makes sense given what we know and experienced. You might think, well, wouldn't the black hole swallow the Earth or spaghettify and crush humans? Nah, not at sufficient distances. Simply put, mathematically, it would pull the oceans because the oceans are big. It would not squish humans because humans are small. The black hole's gravity would create a tidal force, meaning it pulls one side of Earth harder than the other. Across the entire span of Earth's full diameter, that difference would be enormous. Across a human body, the difference is relatively small. At the peak of this disaster, everybody was feeling physical effects from the gravity. If the object passed by in an egregious angle, this could cause you to feel like you're falling in that direction. Imbalance, nausea, vertigo, disorientation causing falling and puking. The atmosphere is made of fluid which gets pulled by its gravity, causing strong pressure changes, bloody noses, crazy migraines. I don't think these symptoms were solely from turbulent seas or electromagnetic fields. Certainly not with the mom's bloody nose and extreme disorientation. I actually think this is probably what happened. The good news is that it's temporary, and Earth is healthy as a horse. The bad news is that the submariner was right for the wrong reasons. Once this Earth mass black hole zips past, its tidal force will disappear and Earth's normal gravity and rotation would violently pull its oceans back to their normal positions, aka where you're currently standing, with mega-continent scale tsunami forces. For the most part, also bad news. Something like this could permanently alter Earth's rotation, speed, axis, wobble, orbit around the sun, and the moon's orbit, so that's not good. It's chill though, because they found an old rusted out plane to hold out in. Of course, nobody keeps a lookout for the crazy man. In the middle of the night, Cassie sneaks out to take a leak without letting anyone know. Wait, you used your daughter as bait? In all fairness, she did lose all your water by not screwing back on the canteen top. Dehydration is hitting them hard. Man, it sure would be nice if those oceans came back soon. I'm getting thirsty. Ooh, the man is not a pretty sight. Apparently something tried to eat him. Son of a. Ancient amphibious crabs all jacked up on radioactive waste. Thank God they managed to stumble into a convenient cargo ship mere yards away. Seeing the crab wave attack, another group of survivors rush inside a cargo container and lock our protags out. I question that decision, considering the storage container is full of big holes. The only move left is obviously to get to high ground. Our protags climb up as quick as they can, but the mom still gets her ankle pinched up. As expected, the crabs pour in through said giant holes, overwhelm the survivors, and chew them up. Well, after a few hours of listening to the crabs snacking on their meat, hopefully they f off and we can snatch their weapons. Then we can search the containers in the ship for food, water, and medical supplies, because Mom's ankle is definitely infected. Mom wakes up hours later, climbs down, grabs the shotgun and bandolier, and links up with Cassie and Ben. They found a storage container that doesn't have giant holes in it. Ben loads the shotgun, while Mom pours gunpowder from a shell into her open wound in an attempt to light and cauterize it. This would be a catastrophic and likely fatal decision in reality. True medical cauterization requires sustained heat of a few hundred degrees to gently cook the proteins in the blood vessels to seal them shut. Modern smokeless gunpowder flashes in a moment at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is too quick to heat up deep bleeding vessels, but it is hot enough to cause instant third-degree burns. When gunpowder ignites in an open, wet wound, it doesn't burn completely. The rapid flash drives unburnt flakes of carbon, sulfur, and chemical stabilizers directly into the exposed flesh. In medicine, this is called traumatic tattooing. The chemicals become permanently embedded into the tissue, making the wound highly toxic and practically impossible for a doctor or someone else to clean out. Even if the flash stops a tiny bit of surface bleeding, you're now left with a charred, dead flesh mixed with a toxic chemical residue. Dead tissue inside a wound is the perfect breeding ground for anaerobic bacteria, like the bacteria that cause tetanus and gas gangrene. Without a modern hospital to surgically cut away the burnt, chemically contaminated flesh, that tiny cauterized wound would likely turn septic within a day or two. She should have used the gunpowder to start a fire with assorted flammable materials that are all around them to heat a metal object up, which she could then firmly press against her wound for a couple of seconds. Oh good, they found a massive supply of drinkable water in one of the containers. They also find another Beretta M9 and a VHF radio. A VHF radio, I think, is just a radio for boaters to contact each other. Yep, looks like it provides direct ship-to-ship and ship-to-shore communication without relying on cellular towers. She radios the submariner again. Damn, he's not doing good. He tells them he too was attacked by the arthropods from the abyss. Yeah, ancient amphibious crabs, all jacked up on radioactive fluids. He also tells her that according to his instruments, the sea is coming back faster than he expected. Within hours, he says. Mom says that sucks because she's lost. Don't worry, as luck would have it, he's close enough by that they can see his flare, and close enough to actually get there before the sea returns. It's still a hella long distance to cover in their condition, and there's a huge fault line that they have to cross somehow. Two options. One, ditch the shotgun and shells to lighten the load, which better ensures that you can actually make it to the submarine in time. It's not that heavy, probably 10 to 12 pounds with all the shells, but when you're hauling ass over a long distance and you're wounded, that makes a difference. Who knows if it's a couple of hours or 8? I would assume it'd be a couple of hours. 2, keep the shotgun and ensure that you're better able to kill this submariner and take his boat so that you may survive. Only 3 seats apparently. Remember? Do I know how to drive a submarine to ensure that we don't remain at the bottom of the ocean? No, but that Ocean Gate Titan had an Xbox controller, right? How hard could it be? Yeah, keep the shotgun. Along the way, the crevice that they're traversing begins to crumble all around them. Mom gets cut off and demands that Ben and Cassie run for the submarine without her. When they make it, they find the submariner dude is completely gnawed up. Okay, first order of business. You tell us how to drive this thing before you croak. He informs them that they only have a matter of minutes to prepare for the incoming seas. It's at this moment, after abandoning her mom and running the entire way out here, that Cassie decides to help her mom. Great, now she has to run all the way back, which there is absolutely no time for at this point. Mom's about to get chewed up by the crabs anyways. With no way out, she racks the shotgun and makes her final stand. Despite smoking handfuls of the little buggers with their Mossberg no recoil 90, there's too many of them. It's over. Until Cassie peers over the ledge 30 feet above her and reaches out with her strong hand. What? There's no way that you could pull her up from there. Bro, literally anyone could have climbed up those boulders without help. 6-year-old nephew could easily climb that. Now, I've never been severely dehydrated from apocalyptic conditions, nor had my leg gnawed up by enormous ancient crabs, but I have blacked out from vomiting and diarrhea caused by a bad stomach bug. Even in that highly fatigued and depleted state, I still think I could make it up those boulders. Okay, maybe a 50-50 chance. Look, my point is, Julia would have made it. Cassia saves Julia, and they race back to the submarine with crabs hot on their heels. Thank God Ben and Julia were able to lay down enough suppressive fire to keep those bugs' heads down long enough for them to retreat inside. You might want to save a few, just saying. There is definitely room for more than 3 in here. Give me a break. Safely inside the sub, they look through the porthole at the mega tsunami barreling towards them. Better strap in. The wave hits. Honestly, just stop putting your hand over your mouth. You're making it worse because now your vom is exploding all over your face instead of cleanly landing on the floor. You know what's worse than being in a sub getting hit by a tsunami? Being in a sub getting hit by a tsunami with your face covered in vomit. As luck would have it, their sub perfectly washes up on the mainland shores instead of getting sent out to sea. I mean, they're not exactly lucky, but relatively speaking, everyone else is dead and this could have gone way worse. The end. Ultimately, it's insanely improbable that our protags would be within hiking distance of a submarine. Therefore, realistically, they would all have died. For that reason, and because virtually all life on Earth was probably drowned, I'd say the primordial black hole in Survive was not survivable. Moral of the story, sometimes there's no solution.